What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake. This is my FK8 and we're gonna do a 60,000 mile review on it today. First things first though, we have to get it clean because it is filthy. Quick little contact wash. Time to rinse this thing off. I completely ran out of my snow foam, so it wasn't super foamy. And I also, this Armor All foamer, I would recommend not buying it. It fell apart like halfway through. So yeah. Wash is all done. I had a problem. I got a Blue Jay that likes to roll around, and every time I wash my car, he'll end up like pooping all over the driver's side door. I don't know if it's because I drive a red car and this is like blue country or what. I don't know. So I got the vehicle back in May of 2021. Sorry, May of 2020. And I bought it with 25,000 miles on it. It currently has 61,000 miles, and I've had it for a couple of years now. When I purchased it from the dealership, I traded in a 2018 Subaru WRX, and prior to me driving the vehicle, I was sold, as soon as I opened that door, I knew I was going to purchase a vehicle. The interior on these vehicles are very nice, especially for the price point. So comfort while driving, the seats are fantastic. I will say probably like a 4-hour drive is max. I drove this for 18 hours twice now, when I drove from Alabama, or excuse me, from New York to Alabama, and then Alabama back up to New York. And like hour 4, your lower back starts to feel it a little bit. There is a comfort setting in this. You have 3 different settings: the Type-R, the Plus R setting, Sport, which is stock, and then the comfort setting. Comfort's nice for those long drives, and you're not really trying to be too aggressive while driving. It's just your dampeners soften, your steering softens, your throttle response is kind of decreased, and then when you're in sport mode, it's kind of a nice in between from R and comfort. And then when you're in R mode, stiff dampeners, you're gonna feel every single bump in the ground, and stiff steering, and then your throttle response is increased. A quick little look at the interior here. If you guys aren't familiar with the Civic Type-R interior, it looks very nice. These seats are super comfortable. They really hold you tight here with these bolsters. So that's pro. If you have the Honda hack, you can put whatever video you want on the car. So that's my little entrance to the vehicle every time I turn it on here. Con that I have is the infotainment system on this. I know they fixed it after the year 2020, but like everything being touchscreen is a huge pain in the butt.
especially with how slow this thing moves. It's a pain, especially your climate controls here. So you have to go into your climate, turn it on, shut it off, and this is where you can make all your adjustments to your climate controls. It would just be nice to have knobs down here, but that's just me kind of nitpicking. Another pro about this car, I don't think I'll ever not buy a hatchback again because of this car. There is so much room for everything. So you can fit a whole monitor back here. You can fold these seats down. It's really a grocery getter. So I'm gonna get into reliability. Since I've had the vehicle, I've had no major issues at all. I have had one issue where I had to change my spark plugs. I had my engine cover off, and the way the vent works here, water just seeped down into it, and then into my number 4 spark plug, which is completely corroded, so my engine was misfiring. But other than that, I've had no issues with the vehicle. I do frequent oil changes and just normal maintenance with the vehicle. I will say one thing with maintenance though, I have had to replace 3 tires on this. Fairly new tires on this, just because the 20-inch wheels and like the rubber band tires, if you hit anything, you're gonna have to replace the tire. So performance and tunability, stock, these vehicles have 306 horsepower at 295 foot-pounds of torque. So compared to their competition, like the Hyundai Veloster, Subaru, STI, they stack up pretty well. I've driven the STI, I've driven the Veloster N, I've driven in the RS, the Ford Focus RS, and this thing stock against those vehicles, it definitely holds its own. I would consider this to be the king of hot hatches. I know it's had that throne for a little bit now, but yeah, it's a blast to drive. So we're getting the tunability of the Civic Type-R. There's a ton you can do to this vehicle. I've seen track builds, I've seen drag strip builds. There's a couple of guys getting into 9-second runs of the drag strip for a quarter mile. And then track, these things are just monsters. Whenever this vehicle first came out, it held the Nürburgring front wheel drive record for production cars. And then I do believe the new FL5 just set the record again, so the Type-R is back on top. This car had a lot of controversy whenever it first came out with how aggressive it looks. Personally, I like it. Like, I grew up playing with Hot Wheels, so this is like my grown-up Hot Wheel, you know. I do prefer this over the FL5 just because how aggressive this looks. The FL5 kind of just looks like a normal commuter car to me. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy it. It's still a Type-R. Their performance is a little bit better than these stocks. So if you're a little bit older and you don't like how aggressive this one is, the FL5 is probably a better match for you. So speaking about the looks of the vehicle, I consistently get compliments about how good the vehicle looks, and people always come up to me and ask me like, oh, what kind of car is that? The kids love it. They're always, you know, like talking to their mom or dad and saying, oh, mom, look. So it's nice. It's like you're making car enthusiasts everywhere you go in the vehicle. So the current mods I have on the vehicle are a PRL intake, the PRL turbo inlet pipe, a Ballade Sports Catless downpipe, and a AWE track exhaust. If you plan on buying the Catless downpipe and the AWE track exhaust, I will tell you, do not plan to sit on the phone while you're driving. You will not be able to hear anything, and everybody on the other line will just hear your car. That being said, I do love the AWE track exhaust, and then the Ballade Sports Catless downpipe. I just felt a large increase in torque, lower in the RPMs. You can really tell.
I need to get the Honda Flash Pro. I've been running the Catless downpipe for probably like 10 to 15,000 miles now, so I've had a check engine light the whole time. I've had no problems with it. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is like $1,000 for you to get your Honda and the ECU jailbreak. I really like to get the Honda fuel system, maybe the PRL flex fuel kit. I want to see how high I can get horsepower and torque before using E85, because it's kind of rare to run into down here in Alabama. I think the closest gas station is like an hour and a half. I'd also like to get the PRL turbo, the P700 if I could. So overall, I love the vehicle. I would recommend it to anybody if they're in the market for a FK8 or FL5. The only con to that is they kind of have that bro tax and the dealer upcharge, so you're going to be spending a good amount of money. I would personally buy this vehicle again and again and again and again. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this vehicle. My plans are to just keep it in the family as long as I can, build it as much as I can, and then maybe give it to one of my kids when they're old enough in high school, and then they'll be showing up with a nice little race car. If you guys want, you can head over to streetcultureracing.com. I'll drop a link in the description. That is my clothing company. We sell the license plates, a whole bunch of t-shirts, sweatshirts, floor mats. So if you guys want to check that out, if you guys like the video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment below on what I can do better, things you'd like to see on future videos, what you'd like to see on the Type-R, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.